sat down with me and I went,
Oh, this is before that. Oh, yeah, so they said, well, do you think we could talk him into like going another way?
we had this whole conversation.
I said, this is, oh, yeah, he doesn't, no, now I get it. I
John,
get it.
how are you?
Oh, yeah, and there was,
Raining?
there was DOT there.
But
It started pouring when I.
Sorry, pal, you didn't see it. Well, why didn't that happen? Because
Because that's what I said to them.
Thank
They've been
you.
late helping us.
Did anything from the sign or not, not today?
Oh,
Okay.
Well, I said, yeah, they're not likely to go down that path again.
Well, we're pretty
There
close
was-
to time too.
I'm like, do you think you would have asked that before it was property?
We're live and we're gonna go. Welcome, everyone. This is the regular monthly board meeting for the Tioga County Industrial Development Agency. It is Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023 at 4:30 p.m. The meeting is hereby called to order. Christine, could we do a roll call, please?
Jen Piccarelli,
Yes.
Kevin Gillette,
Yeah.
Mike Stabride, yes, Don Ward.
Yeah.
Eric Nolan.
Yep.
Mary Townsend. And Tracy Manell is excused. We have,
First on the agenda is privilege of the floor, and we're going to welcome Brittany Woodburn today with an ED&P update and DRI touch.
should I stand?
Whatever you
At the table.
Whatever you
I
want.
was thinking Eric's.
Right.
No problem. I didn't get busted to check.
Do you have to take your knife back out too?
Oh, nice.
I set it off with my boots every time I go through it, so.
That's where I'm gonna put my knife next time.
Or any other kind of thing like that, or the holster or anything like that.
Brittany,
Okay.
please, let's go.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Ann Christine just asked me to give you guys an update on the DRI multi-site program and how that's going. As you guys know, the IDA is the local program administrator for the program. And you guys have the contract with Homes and Community Renewal for that. And then Team Tioga, we've partnered with you all to assist with the administration of the program. As you can see on the sheet there's just under $2.4 million in the project funds. About 118,000 in administration fee for the total contract amount, just over 2.5 million. Initially, the contract was going to expire in December 2022. We've extended that for a year to December 31st, 2023. And we're likely going to look at extending it another 6 to 12 months. We'll have a better sense in December when we see kind of where all the projects stand, but it's pretty likely we'll extend that a little further. We currently have 15 projects that fall under the multi-site program. You guys can kind of look through them. There's 3 categories. There's business development projects, facade projects, and then new fund projects that we just took on. We have one project that's complete and fully reimbursed. That's Home Central. We have another one that's complete and we're just waiting for their final reimbursement. That's the Sheer Paradise Spa edition. We have 5 that are actively under construction and in progress. We have another 3 that are either under contract or they'll be under contract shortly. So we're thinking they'll start construction next month or 2. We do have one project that's had a little bit of slower progression. That's the Tioga Trails project, but that's in the process of being under new ownership. So we're hopeful that's going to advance a little more quickly now. And then we have 4 projects that were recently added within the last few months. And that was the IDA took on additional DRI funds that were relinquished by the Tioga County Historical Society, the museum project. So we did a call for projects for those. We had a project selection committee process, and we're proactively assisting them through the design, the environmental testing, and the local approvals process right now. That's kind of where they are. I don't know if anyone has any specific projects they have questions about. I will say, just to kind of give you guys a sense of everything we do to administer these projects. We have the overall contract management. We do monitoring reports, call the meetings with Homes and Community Renewal staff. And then we have project specific administration that we do as well. So a whole application intake process, we do the marketing and distribution and review of the program guidelines with all of the project applicants. For the fund projects, we did reviews of the application, determination of grant awards. We prepare and distribute requests for proposals for environmental, design, construction services for all the projects. We have environmental review procedures for seeker and SHPO application and termination, so the Historic Preservation Office. We go through local reviews and approvals, lead, asbestos, and radon testing where it's applicable, and then project closeout testing as well. We do compliance with the MWBE reporting. We do in-person meetings and site visits with the property owners throughout construction. We coordinate with the code enforcement officers for initial and final inspection logs. We do a review and verification of completion for projects. We have file maintenance checklist procedures that we go through. And then we prepare the grants or the projects for closeout and reimbursement and all of those procedures too. So it's a lot. We've been having fun with it. One thing I will note is we're likely going to need an MWBE waiver request at the close of the program. Most of the projects are on track to meet their 30% goal. We have a couple that have come in under, and we're probably going to need to request a waiver. But otherwise, it's going pretty well with the program. We just handle it.
with Tioga Trails?
Yeah, that was the one
That's a big
delay.
question that everybody asks, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a purchase agreement in place for a new property owner. We've been talking to him, looking at other resources. Obviously, that's a huge undertaking, and the DRI funds for that project is only like 123,000 with a 50% match. So that's like just going to touch the brickwork. For the DRI part, once it's under the new ownership, he'll look to repoint the brick is essentially what he'd spend the DRI money on. And then we're actively helping him look for other Restore New York and Main Street resources for the full rehabilitation.
I'm glad to hear that something's going on.
Yeah, we're hopeful.
Does anybody have a projected number
For that,
to revitalize that building?
we've seen numbers upwards of 4 to 5.5 million. To fully do it.
At least it's a realistic thought.
Yeah.
That's what Bruce Nelson told me.
So there's someone looking at it though.
Can these projects share MWBE credit? Like-
They can, if we have overages, they can count, but most of our projects rarely they either just meet it, or we have a couple with overages.
Not enough to make up what the difference that we're going to be shortfall.
Right.
We were hoping we had one construction company getting certified, and they just got word a couple days ago, that they got rejected, so I kind of put a.
Okay,
person on hold.
And Ed there,
What was the reasoning?
because Ed does on-site work, and there are two things he did then.
I think he was too.
He's too involved. And was too involved. Actually,
Is she gonna be cheated on
he
site?
runs it.
Yeah, she was.
Ain't she on site?
Any other questions for Bill? Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. If anything comes up with any projects, just let me know.
Thank you. Next up, Jason, Lounsbury Power Study.
Yes. It's been a while.
It's good to see you again.
You got something good for us.
What's that?
So you're in the big chair, so we hope you got something good.
I don't have anything good. The report is primarily the same as what you've seen the last time, other than a quick little update and blurb that NICEAG is not really able to help and unwilling to help. I think that's a fair word to say. From their stance. They said they gave some little synopsis in there that they could do a portion of phase 1 and 2, but anything other than that, we can't really give you any solid numbers or any solid outlooks. You'll have to submit for that, which is the whole point of why we wanted to go down this process. I don't think it's a total wasted effort in the study because you do have numbers in there that you can always use in the future, but any developer that's gonna come in, they're probably gonna fit within those numbers, and you're still gonna have to reach out to NICEAG and jump through the exact same hoops.
If you remember, our goal was to be proactive and be prepared rather than reactive.
Mhm.
Hoping that we would get, input, buy-in from NICEAG to do that, and that just does not happen.
In your experience, how many projects do you go with, somebody like NICEAG or NICEAG specific, and they actually just come up with a plan as opposed to, wait a minute, let's punt this and see how many more times you can come to the table. If you had 10 projects, just random projects, you just counting, how many would get kicked back to you by NICEAG?
Almost, yeah. 9 or 10, yeah.
So why isn't the Public Service Commission involved here? Where, I mean, we shouldn't have to go back to the well. They should be on like a bat phone right now where you call them and say, hey, we got another one of these.
Especially with the governor's emphasis on everything electric.
Right. I mean, that's a pretty scary scenario when you take your gas stoves out and makes it 2025 and all of a sudden you gotta put electric in. What the heck? Now it's gonna take a while for this to happen, but I mean, you can't ask for one thing and then not give the other. So our infrastructure sucks.
It's not like there's capacity there, it's just that, they'll get to you when they get to you, and that could be years.
They have a favorite number too. It's 1.5 million. What every one of these rejected projects that happened to me,
Mhm.
I spoke to somebody 2 weeks ago, it happened to. And it's like, yeah, we could probably get you something there, but it's about 1.5 million in infrastructure. And then after $25,000 of legal fees and nonsense, then they start coughing up grant money out of their own pocket.
Yeah.
Put these things together.
And we didn't even get to an amount in this process, right? Which is what we really wanted to get to.
Right.
I would have been happy if they would have said $20 million. At least then I would have something that we could work towards, right? That was the goal. Instead, they're like, well, if you have to do anything, you better account for, 2 to 3 years of infrastructure upgrades. That's the kick in the pants that I see at Lounsbury. Is it's not so much, you can't even plan for the cost associated with it. If you have a developer that wants to come in over there, and it's the same thing that we've run into for all of the projects over there, is we need power sooner than 3 years. Nobody's gonna come and develop there.
Crown Court last week.
That's what I was just thinking about.
The biggest downside of that facility is the lack of a dedicated line. And he says on average, when the power goes out, which happens many, many times a year, they lose, what was it, 250,000
kids.
Wow.
They all drop, everything suction. Because when the power blinks,
All the cans
Well,
fall on the floor.
$quarter million.
So we reached out to them because we tried through. When we were coordinating with them, that was one of the feedbacks that they've given is that, yeah, we don't have a dedicated service here because we were trying to see what the power loads were. And we actually gave them some free service off to the side of trying to help them solve that, but the cost associated with it was weird. To the worth them losing.
Yeah.
200,000
Yeah,
cans, whatever it was.
But he said April 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. This year. Blink. Yeah, he said, you just gotta duck your head. Everything goes down.
And when you start bringing up the PSC, right? How do they not get, I mean, NICEAG's very powerful utility, right? Crown Court is a very powerful industry as well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how? So when we go to them as an IDA or development project and try to use some pull, when Crown Court can't even get anything, sometimes it's just like, man, it's frustrating.
Yeah, well, I thought the PSC, the first word was that they work for us, but apparently there's no idea that that's.
I learned that lesson very quickly when I was with Village Nichols and they're doing the water project there. I too had that very same assumption, and I sat on several phone calls and it very quickly came to learn that, no, it's about whatever they need to do to allow the company to make a specified return on investment. So whatever that math is to get to that is what it's gonna be.
So this kind of thing gets out, so you have a piece of real estate over there. Who cares?
Yeah, I can't get power.
Get right down to it.
Yeah, it's the same story. I think that every now and then I get an email or a phone call.
Yeah.
Got a potential over here. Water, sewer, and power. Usually we can handle the water and sewer.
That becomes a political football. Then you start calling in, whoever high level politically can help you and push. Without political help, NICEAG's not gonna move on it. We've done that. We did that with Crown, where we called in help. And that's what drove this. Wouldn't it be nice to be proactive rather than reactive? How do we go about doing that?
Congressional district, is that enough? That go to O'Meara too?
Yes.
Tommy.
Any other questions for Jason? I think he summed it up well.
Out of luck.
Gotta buy time and beer and all that.
Yeah, gotta live in a different state.
Yeah.
Well, that was great, Jason. Hey, appreciate it. Stop by more often.
Yeah.
Bring a freaking rainfall with you.
You have more projects going on.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Two of us.
I gotta run on a generator.
Studying
Out there hanging
the
solar out there.
Which is the- And then.
Good.
generally
How do you
aren't
keep-
allowed to use anymore. So.
I'm pissed off. I put in.
Oh, we got Richford.
We got Richford. No, but I got Richford. Yeah, so now we see that
Railroad.
price.
Yeah.
Study project there. Well, thank you, Jason.
Yeah, we'll try to do.
You gotta understand by then, they're like-
Even after it
There's no
floods.
problem.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. See, Jason, good luck in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
And they know it.
Make sure Kate has a glass of wine tonight. It slows down.
You should have it before that.
I have a motion to approve the April board meeting minutes, please.
So move.
Second,
Second.
thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Moving on to the financials. Any comments?
Any good news from you, John?
Good news.
Are you making tons of money, John?
No, no. I mean, the standard docs, the balance sheet, profit and loss transaction stuff, Christine and I talked about, a couple minor items in there. The operating income and expense reports are, I guess, a new item. I don't think we've covered these in my time on the board, but just kind of just a snapshot of regular income and fixed expenses and where we've been. It was my understanding that for the Ralph that like these reports.
Yeah.
This just kind of shows, with the exception, I think, of 2021. Jason kind of said, need some projects, which would help subsidize some of this, but between Weaver Gardens 2 and then just the situation that's explained in these operating income and expense reports, the organization's liquidity's dropped quite a bit in the time that I've been on the board. So it's just, again, I don't know if it's a finance committee type thing. If anybody wanted to, I'd be happy to sit down and go through the thing line by line. It's certainly not something to do here, but I know we talked about the insurance policies, you got some big fixed expenses there that maybe that's something to hone in on, but.
We looked at railroad last month.
Because again, that's a big expense that's not being offset right now. And if we look at the income and expense report just for the snapshot in 2023, we're down 50% year to date already in freight income, so. Actually, this is only through March, so I guess.
Yeah.
Through April, we're down 50%. So it actually came up a little bit from where you were on this. So,
We're not really showing out. Any money for legal gardens, hopefully,
right.
you know, so that might level out, you know, and.
Yeah, we have about 98,000 still due to Robinson when they complete their contract. But other than that, we're still anticipating the Veolia refund in upwards of 400,000, and the ESD refund for 350 will be in this year, definitely. The Veolia will hit next year.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah,
Yeah. There you
little
go.
silver lining.
Little sunshine. maybe. There. Taking a motion to acknowledge the financials, please.
So move.
Second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to project updates, Christine.
Okay, I added, forgive me, I did add in the EDMP update from that draft version, so
Oh,
I
okay.
have you up next.
I gave my time to Brittany.
Okay, well, forgive me twice.
There's nothing else you want to add?
No,
No
just that-
tidbits?
well, I would say that the Waverly, New York Forward project is beginning to kick off. We had a core group meeting today, which included the representatives from the three state agencies, Empire State Development, HCR, and Department of State, as well as representatives from the consulting group, Cameron Engineering, will be our consulting group taking us through the process. And then the co-chairs, Andy Arenstam and myself. So we had our first core group meeting. We'll have another one next week where we're going to meet and actually do a walking tour. We'll meet in Waverly, do a walking tour and come back and really lay out the plan. And then from there, we'll bring together the local planning committee, which has been established. Everybody's signed up that we had approached about serving on the LPC. So we're beginning that process, and that will result in regular monthly meetings with the LPC, as well as planned out community input type meetings in a number of different ways. So our summer will be very busy. It'll take us through into the fall with just the planning meetings associated with it, and the end result will be the completion of the sustainability plan that the consultants will compile everything and put that plan together. That will be submitted to the state. The state will review it and come back with ultimately what projects of what's been outlined would be selected for funding. So it's a long process. It's something that we learned with the WEGO DRI. But I'm happy to say we're getting started with it, and there's a lot of very interested parties and a lot of great buzz around related to that. So,
For all the people who aren't making up their own stuff as they go along,
well, you're always gonna.
but it is weird.
You're gonna have that.
Always have some of that.
Yeah.
We could always have some of that.
So, yeah, so that's gonna be pretty intense.
It's gonna be cool. It's a good project.
I didn't ask Brittany, didn't the old Thompsons get money for DRI too?
Yes,
Is that
it's not,
different?
it was that, it's not under
It's a
our
different
different.
pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Lee.
Yep.
Project updates. So WeGo Gardens 2. Robinson is meeting myself and Fagan and Veolia reps Friday for a site visit, punch list walkthrough, making sure everyone contributes the walkthrough and we get Robinson to get it all at once. They have remediation, etc. When they're complete, we'll pay them $98,807 and they'll be done. I'm still working with all parties on the developer agreement. I really am just gonna need to be a squeaky wheel to get all the other parties moving, because it's kind of just one of those that nobody moves at. It's all parties. It's Fagan, it's Veolia, but I'll just stay on them. I've been pushing the last few weeks. And then easements and again, so this speaking of pushing, we've been telling you that easements are to be finalized soon, and that's been going on for at least 6 months. So again, I've been really pushing Fagan and Hunt to just get it done. Get those descriptions to the attorneys so they can do their easements. And Joe has provided the property transfer paperwork to Veolia. They won't sign it until all those are finalized. So it's all just kind of.
Lawyers. Lawyers.
Enos,
Joe
so.
actually had-
Not you.
He's a-
You're the exception.
Yeah, you're.
Hey. It's a lifestyle.
Joe, you're bold today. I like
Oh, boy.
So hopefully next month I come back, tell you, all that's done, and I'll have an update for when Robinson will finish if they didn't already.
Did that, do you know the decisions on the hydrants and the lights?
So the hydrants, when the county does gift the roadway to the village, those hydrants automatically become part of the village tariff. They don't have to agree or have motion or accept it, they have no choice.
So the hydrants are in limbo right now?
The hydrants right now are still actually referring back to a conversation I had with the county. Does the county technically own
No,
that roadway?
We are
yet?
not. That is in
Then-
the resolution.
So when
No,
the county chooses to, if they technically own it, those hydrants will also then automatically fall under village tariff. You would never have to pay for the hydrants as a county.
and the lights, you don't know. anything.
I don't know about the light.
They probably won't get turned on.
Maybe not. I've been not party to that.
Yeah.
Are they renting?
Well, they just never were hooked up, so the village had submitted initial paperwork to set up their lights that we designed to the village specs. But then at some point in time, they decided they didn't want that roadway. And so the lights have never been hooked up.
They
So that clearly needs to be resolved.
I did speak with the mayor. I said, you need to take the lights. He said, well, we will if, as long as they're the same lights that we have in the village. Because if they need repair, then everything's the same, but if they're different than the village. Now you're telling me,
We coordinated with them to put exactly what they chose and requested.
so I think as soon as school is out, we'll be moving the road.
Let's get Tim's home and that.
That's right. School's out. It's a new
The
day.
buses, I don't think buses are going up there yet anyway, but still.
Oh, boy.
School's out, we'll do it.
Yeah.
We were saying though, there are people moved in, there are people living up there now.
Yes,
Well, that was the name of the game, right?
yeah.
We're just driving the
Next time we
kids
do
to
this,
school.
we just gotta make sure it's in the meeting minutes, so we're at the right meeting.
Yeah,
Oh.
well, that,
Boy.
I don't think we're gonna be doing.
More water.
No, not my time.
No, no, and no. We're finished with that.
You must be at the wrong meeting.
It's still nice houses.
Are there any other questions about we've started? Chief? No, thank you. Okay.
There will be an open house at some point. We're waiting to hear on that, in which case we'll, like, obviously the idea.
Love to see it.
Okay, pilot company employment. Let me share the screen. I'm just gonna pull up this. Sorry. Okay, so this is the report I shared with you last month, just giving you an update. I reached out to the companies who fell short of their originally projected employment figures. Central New York Oil and Gas. We have ongoing conversation. I'm waiting for a response. Lockheed same. They forwarded up to an upper level and they haven't provided their response yet. I've had back and forth with Central New York Oil and Gas. Basically, they are going to confirm they've reported there's potential discrepancy in these figures reported the last 2 years. So they're doing an internal review. They will get back to me. Tioga Downs, I made an error and input the wrong figure here. So they got back to me and said, I don't know where you got that figure, but it was 414. So they're good and in the clear. And VNS was falling short. Since 2023, they've hired some new people. They're up to 38 full-time equivalent positions. So they're above their original projection, and it was due to COVID and all the unemployment payouts that they were unable to be staffed adequately.
Is that part of changes you're able to make in Paris then? Do they allow you to make those corrections?
Typically, yeah, actually, anytime there's discrepancy, I can ask them to reopen it, let me make some changes.
You need to do that because a lot of those reports that come out, it's taken from the data
Yeah.
that's put in there. So
Yeah.
we want to make sure that
I
it's
will do
accurate.
that.
Since the numbers are,
I
Where?
will do that. And actually, the authority's budget office every year reviews the Paris report, comes back to me with questions. We go back and forth. Sometimes they open it for a few revisions. So that's actually the case right now, and it is open for me. So I'll do that while I'm in there and I'll let them know. Thank you. Okay, so that's that. I'll come back to you and let you know what happened with Central New York Oil and Gas and Lockheed Martin. I have this further on the agenda, but I'll just go over it now. While I reached out to Central New York Oil and Gas questioning this information, I was advised that they actually sold the entity to a new owner, Kinder Morgan Incorporated. So Joe's looking into that to make sure. I'm going to get Joe their attorney's contact information. He's just going to make sure if any documents need to be done officially for that pilot agreement to have transferred into.
Yeah, and it's a question of whether they've transferred the real estate or whether they've sold the entity. It seems unlikely that they would transfer the entity, but that's what we're being told.
They said they bought
The
all.
liabilities transfer with them.
Yeah, yeah, they.
Get the good and the bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
So. More on them, expiring, thank you. So the expiring pilot, thank you for passing this around, Leanne. Leanne and I got together, reviewed all pilot agreements and all historical data, just made sure we know exactly what year each pilot expires. Do you want to share this?
so, as we let you know, there does seem to be pending legislation out there that might fix our problem. But we're waiting to hear on that. But in the meantime, as we talked about last month, Christine and I were going to kind of gather information and let you know where we stand with what our most immediate red flag is that we might need to be taking a look at right now. So if you take a look at these, the years that we have highlighted there are the years where there are pilots anticipated coming off. Best Buy we already know about, so that's something that we're continuing to work. But as you can see in year 2026, that shouldn't be highlighted. In year 2027, that should not be highlighted, is Central New York, Midwestern, Lockheed Martin, FedEx, all come off in 27. So what Christine has been working on and we've been talking about is bringing forward a proposal for how to address each of these. Now, put some sort of a plan in place to start to migrate that, as we had talked about with Best Buy, migrate between rule section 1 and rule section 8. Slowly start to move that value over so that when it comes to 2027, it's already all able to be moved over to rule section 1, and that our school districts and other entities are not going to feel a hit from it. So this is what we're anticipating, and you can see the other years, 2030, 2034, 35, 37, 38, all the way through the 2052. So, our first goal was understanding where we stand, and from there we'll be able to put a plan in place. So this is where we are. we'll hopefully wait to hear if this legislation passes. If it doesn't, at next month's meeting, we'll come back with a plan for, how to address this.
And they're gonna vary, you know what I mean, depending on how big of a pile
Right.
it is, right? Like, I mean,
That's
some,
right.
some like,
Yeah,
I don't know how much I care about Midwestern, right? Like. we have to
Exactly.
do a lot. Yeah, I mean, that's not,
She's taking that into consideration.
yeah,
She's looked at that, she's looked at, what that assessed value is, how
Yeah.
practical it is to take maybe over 3 years rather than 5 years to migrate it back. She's taken a very close look at that. Now, the challenging ones obviously are like,
well,
Yeah.
CNYOGs, that's the one, right? Like, I mean, Corey's gonna find a new job before that comes off the books.
Yeah.
Be smart.
yeah. So, that might be, we might have to continue to kick that one down the road a little bit, but these others, I think we can put a plan in place right now. Providing the assessors are willing to work with us. Now, Denise Spalding in the town of Nichols has been very open to kind of thinking outside the box a little bit. We're hopeful that the other assessors will take the same view of it, but you don't know. You never know till you ask. So, we'll see what we got, I guess. Lockheed Martin is a non-issue. Because they're not paying any tax on well substance. So that's a non-issue for them. So that you can take Lockheed out of that, but Midwestern FedEx, we need to put something together right now.
so you don't request on behalf of the school?
I just gotta see the number.
Yeah, if,
You know what I mean? The
and we-
numbers.
I have it here, but we.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Great.
Good question.
Thank you, Leanne.
Yeah, good share.
It is.
Well, Leanne,
Better now.
Leanne put this together and I have my own and we're laughing together that our brains just think different. We have different spreadsheets. But we're working on it together. It's been a good month.
Yeah.
Expiring pilots, we just did that. So on to sales tax exemption program. So I sent out to you all by email. Since our last meeting, this Broome County IDA's sales tax exemption program application. I don't know what. So the bottom line is the Broome County agency offers this program. Let me pull up something maybe more helpful. So this is a comparison of basically the program that we have now. The only way that we offer sales tax exemption is through our pilot program. And so this is comparing what we have now versus what I'm speaking of copying from Broome. So the application fee that they pay could be reduced if we were to start this program. Our agency fee that we currently charge is listed right here. It's a percentage of their taxable items. This program Broome does, they charge $500 upon approval, or if the company's exemptions are above $100,000, they're required to hold a public hearing. So they then charge a higher fee, 1% of the total exemption amount. Sorry for all this craziness. So what are the requirements of the applicant? Right now, our program is only open to companies that meet the pilot requirements. So it's a new business, new development, perhaps an expansion. But this program, if we want to initiate it, it could support people that already live here, want to make a new development without job creation, but say it's something that you want to support, or basically it just opens up options for incentivizing development.
Buy new equipment. Mhm.
Without requiring them to move here from elsewhere or create jobs. So it just, and there are some examples of, outreaches I've received in the last month. We had. So this is just sales tax only. Yeah. And
Simplifies the process.
yeah,
Something.
exactly. By law, we can give them up to $100,000 exemption without a public hearing. So if they fall within that window, it could be a very quick turnover, incentivize something we think is great,
You
People
couple
could
that with
apply.
the 485B program, you can really effectively, offer sales tax and real property tax exemption in a much simpler, easier way of going about it than going through the entire pilot and less costly. Of course, Joe loses out, but
Well.
because there aren't the attorney fees, there aren't, everything, the time.
We're gonna find a way back into this. I think we all know that.
So, in the consideration timeline could potentially be shorter because of the lack of all those requirements.
You don't have
Most of
public
these that
Yeah.
we run to are construction expansion, because machinery and equipment is tax exempt anyways. So
Right.
that usually doesn't.
Thank you.
So what are you seeing in that most typically?
Just building expansion or
Okay.
upgrading of the facility.
Okay, okay. Renovation.
And
I think it's so
I
simple.
mean, it's not a huge kick, but, I had someone call me yesterday, it was a $300,000 transaction, so it's a $25,000 benefit.
Mhm.
He seemed interested,
Mhm.
Of course.
absolutely. But again, it's a lot shorter program.
It's so simplified. That's what I like about it. I've given it some thought after we talked on Monday. I think this is something we should consider implementing.
No downside to it.
There really isn't.
But you can always say no.
Mhm.
I mean,
That's
that's nice that
right.
you have programming. Doesn't mean. Yeah, it made sense to me.
Okay, so I did not, so you would then be approving me creating a draft application for your approval at next month's meeting? Or-
Yes,
Okay,
let's move forward.
great, thank
It's a
you.
great program. It really is. I didn't have enough information. Now I understand it.
Yeah, I
Thank
would
you for
say
that,
next
Christine.
week when we get the application. form.
Thanks so much.
Really cool.
And just so you know, Bruce Nelson has been awarded one of the new DRI projects under,
We go.
that Brittany was just presenting. He has approximately $800,000 project. His estimated material cost is $400,000 to $600,000. So his estimated sales tax amount is $32,000 to $48,000. He has specifically contacted me requesting the IDA board allow him to basically apply for a sales tax exemption only pilot for that project. Now, I told him I would discuss that with you all, but I also told him in February of 2022, we requested this board approve sales tax exemption for all the DRI projects under this program, the HCR. And you all said no. So I said, I don't anticipate my board doing that just for you. But, and so that's my,
What's the project? What's he doing?
he's adding 8 new apartments to the back side of 231 Main.
Oh, I had heard something was going on there. Yeah.
After make those space, all the commercial
Yeah.
space, he's converting to residential.
So he said, anything we could do to assist him on that, he would really appreciate it. I would anticipate if we create this program, he'd be one of many that would like to apply. And at that point, I don't think it would be a preferential treatment as much as a new program. So I had that he may apply for that, as well as that gentleman who was interested in the softball field wanting to build. I know that's not gonna mean, yeah,
I don't think that's real thing.
I've heard that through the grapevine.
Mhm.
But
You said the name of it.
but if it were, that would be the type of person I might apply.
As well, there's a project that we talked about for the old Victory building that's kind of a different project for that building. He inquired about a pilot. I told him that property was 100% taxed, and I did not anticipate that the idea would allow real property tax exemption on it in past experiences. But there may be an opportunity for some sales tax exemption on it, so that might be coming forward as well.
What building is that?
It's
1380 Taylor
It's
Road.
between Lockheed, it's between Moore's Tire thing and like Achieve and where San Mina used to be. It's between there. It looks like a little strip mall,
Used to be a
actually.
grocery
The old
store back
Victory.
in.
Just right there.
Victory Market.
Well, that was even before my time. 'cause I thought
It was all Lockheed
Victory is
Labs.
now the
They had a lot of labs in that building, but it's
PVS.
been vacant
What
for a
is it?
while.
That was a Great American Foods Building.
Yeah.
Victory Market's Great American Foods.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This was, yeah.
Wow, that one goes back a ways.
All the way back.
You didn't set the alarm off in that building.
Mhm.
I don't like the pilots on existing structures, right? Like, I mean, it's me, a pilot, you're coming in, you're building something, and you know what I mean, these guys now are looking for, trying to get a pilot on something that already exists, right?
What if it's completely?
It's not really why it was supposed to be set up, so I think the tax exemption gives them a break, you know, you're gonna work on existing property,
Right.
that's fine. But you were already at full tax, you know what I mean? So these guys who want that pilot, they're going off the rolls to a point, and that doesn't make a lot of sense to people in the village, you know, where I am, or the town where I am, doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I think that it's kind of that split the difference here, and yeah, we're gonna help you, because it's gonna be good for you to improve your business. But we're not gonna pull you off the tax rolls,
That's
you know what I mean, for you to do it.
That business improvement exemption is really what makes more sense.
It's hard to, without expanding and putting new square footage in, it's hard to have that kind of a development be worth the expense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because, you're taking an existing structure that's valued based on square foot, you're not improving the square foot,
Exactly.
just sprucing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's such a small increase, if any.
Yep.
In the assessment that it's.
Yeah,
It's not
I
worth it.
completely agree. And so we're not, just so you know, we're not out there saying, oh, we can get you, we're saying, no.
Yeah.
No.
Put
no
you
pilot,
on
I'm gonna-
retainer, Joe, and you gotta explain that to the borrower whose property doesn't appreciate anywhere near a dollar
Right,
per dollar.
they always figure it's going up dollar for dollar.
Example.
It doesn't.
Till it doesn't.
It doesn't.
We'll have to find.
It's a little different than, we've been fortunate, to this point. Most of our projects have been on property owned by the IDA, which is already tax exempt. So you're already at zero.
Yeah.
So anything you get is gonna be more. So those have been easy pilots,
Mhm.
but an existing property doesn't make sense.
What else you got?
Thanks very much. So Newark Valley Historical Society contacted me requesting permission to basically just re-gravel and level out that parking area out by the depot that they use every year for their event. So seeking your blessing.
I don't think that's a problem.
Yeah, it was good with that.
Okay.
Hey, but how's that? They have quite the agenda lineup out there this
They
summer.
do, and it's highly attended.
Highly attended. It was a huge event last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christine, you might want to alert them to the second part.
Yes, that's Julia. There is more.
They're always in.
The Paul Harvey moment. Is that your Paul Harvey thing happening?
Once they get a prize, they might come crying with tears in their eyes asking for help. Pay for this cheap gravel project.
Not the gravel, that's expensive. It's asphalt.
I don't know, it's $600-700 a load.
I thought the trucking was the bad part.
I don't know, but they give you a little ticket, they drop a load, they give you a little ticket at $600-700. I don't know which is trucking and which is gravel, but you don't get one without the other.
Yeah, well, yeah,
It's still $600 or $700.
So those are the words he said jokingly, I'll take your board with tears, but really he said they're gonna try to pay for it on their own. Once they get a price, they may come back with another request for
Okay.
assistance in the funding. But. I added this to the agenda, Ian Mumbolo owns Red Brook Meats. He contacted the team asking for help writing and applying for a USDA meat capacity grant. So I'm going to take the lead on this project with him and lean on the team if questions come up that I don't know. So I'll meet with him next week and we'll get to looking at that. It's due in July.
What is a meat
I
capacity
just saw the
grant?
top part, I was like, what the heck's a meat capacity grant?
So
And
he
why are
has-
we involved in it?
So he runs a slaughterhouse.
USDA slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
Right up your alley, isn't it?
Well, no, but,
Something different.
Talked about it.
but I said, you know, I.
She said she wanted to
I'll
take
do
it in, so.
But what is it?
Never had to see.
Cooler space, walk-in
Yeah, he
cooler?
wants, increased cold storage, label capacities and smokers and perhaps better waste management. They have, I'm just digging into this. I just started reading the packet today of how this grant works, but they offer two types. It's either equipment only up to 250,000, no match requirement, or if you're doing like a construction expansion, larger project, they're gonna require 50% match. I haven't met with Ian yet. We're gonna meet next week, but IDA already has the registered with SAM.gov and has these things in which I may come and ask permission if we could be his technical applicant with a subrecipient agreement. Or he'd have to set all of that up on his own and do it, and I can just help walk him through the process. So I guess some feel of what you prefer now might be helpful.
First of all, who is he?
He
Who
is
is
the
the- I didn't catch it.
Mumble.
Ian
Mumble, owner of Red Brook Meat.
And located where?
Ellis Creek Road, South Barton.
Barton.
Yeah.
Is he also a meat? Is he a butcher or do they process meats?
They butcher and sell.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, there, years ago, they used to do, you know, bring in stuff from here, there and everywhere, but with the USDA thing, it makes it a little different. It's
So
just
still a
the
lot of-
USDA vein now.
Yeah. I think a lot of
So
higher
does he
end
sell out
restaurants.
of this or does he just process it and they purchase in bulk or?
No, I don't know if he's selling retail, but I know he's delivering direct to restaurants.
A lot of restaurants. a lot of higher
I
end
think he's got retail too, because I've looked this, and I don't even know why, I've looked his site up not too long ago, and he's doing a nice, you know what I mean, looks like he's doing a nice job. I mean, it's his website stuff are outstanding, and they have really good ratings.
Reed Brook,
Yeah.
REEDBROOK. What was
Before he was USDA, I think it was mostly bring your own stuff and.
Yeah.
spirit of
I don't know the
change.
guy, I was just, I looked it up, I'm like, what the heck, what is this? So,
This is the slaughterhouse in and around Tioga County has been identified in several different studies that it's a need in.
Yeah,
Tioga
not
County.
here
it's
enough.
a need.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's a need. I
No, it's
just
good. We
didn't
got
know
covered.
about it. I mean, I didn't.
I didn't either. First time I've heard about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I added.
Never
this
drive
to
by
the
that
last
unless you
minute.
lived out there.
That's why I.
So,
End product.
That's why they're isolated.
They don't develop for long.
Oh, now. I don't want to know the details.
yeah, but if it's kosher, it's different.
How many hundreds of animals were not-
They bring a rabbi in down at Taylor's once a week.
What?
Yeah. You have kosher meat, they bring a rabbi in. I worked at Taylor's one summer, one of the largest meat packing plants on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And they would bring a rabbi would come in and they would pick certain cows and you have to use a certain knife. And,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yep.
Catch the blood, the whole nine yards. It was interesting.
That sounds interesting.
See, you're gonna learn all about this stuff. You'll be non kosher.
North.
By Lucing,
Oh, boy.
by Lucing off of 6. It's changed the name now. It's a different name. I don't know. Cargill, yeah, Cargill
Yeah.
bought Taylor's. Taylor's was the family and then Cargill just blew it right off.
It's big. It's a big employer, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Being people that were gonna work there.
Mhm.
They pay well.
Yeah, well,
considering.
be there in June.
I wouldn't be there in January. No. You.
We don't want to talk about blood pits or anything. Let's go
All right,
on. Where are we
As
at?
far as Reed's Brook,
Can I make?
I'm not opposed to looking at whatever you can do, it's just, I think you gotta look at what's possible and bring it back to us.
Okay,
But they're established,
Yeah,
Right.
and if you're not
their kids
comfortable,
all go to Tioga school and play football and whatever, you know, they're in and amongst the
Oh, yeah.
community.
okay, great.
the whole, the whole point here is if you're not comfortable with Christine taking that task on, So we'll handle it out of our office, but I just thought it would be a good opportunity. for them.
I'm fine with it.
Put your rubber boots on.
Let's go.
And it's something
I
different,
just go out
right?
there.
It Exposes you to a whole totally different business than what you're used to.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
sure. why
So
not?
by next month, I'll have more details for you on what I might ask of the board. Back to insurance, we did, I did send the railroad committee some figures on what our refund amount would be if we were to cancel tomorrow versus next month. Tracy responded in the email that he does agree with Kevin that it seems like an unnecessary expense if Joe doesn't see any reason for us to keep it.
Right, exactly.
Well, they have to get through Corman first. You know, it was a little bit different with Steve May. I'm certainly not faulting him, but you think Corman is a deeper well.
My thought is that, you know, here's first off, railroad committee agrees to, if we're gonna drop this, we all have to agree, the full board has to agree. And my exact words, Joe has to bless it. Now, me personally, I see no reason whatsoever to spend the money on insurance that's not insuring anything. It's a feel good. If somebody felt good about it, actually Ralph felt really good about it, because we brought it up once before, and Ralph was really adamant about it. And maybe at the time, there was more reason for it, but with the Corman transaction, like you say, they've got to go all through all that process before they come knocking on our door. It's never going to get here. And, you know, with the amount of traffic on the rail, your risk is about what? Less than 50% of what it would be.
I think if
anyway.
I recall, and maybe you can check this, RJ Corman not only has more assets, but he has more insurance. They have more insurance than Steve May carried, I think.
And we have to be additionally insured. We have to be,
Yeah, oh yeah, we're covered under
and
their
that
policy.
policy's got to be with the lease. I mean, then we have to have a copy of that, and we have to get a certificate every year saying that it's re-upped, and we get something that tells us it got dropped if it ever gets dropped. I mean, when you're on the policy, you get the notification.
So
So,
get noticed.
and there aren't many people that do a triple net lease that have full insurance package on what they just leased.
On top of. Yeah, again, if we're,
Doesn't work.
we're making $200,000 a year, probably wouldn't be talking about it.
It's still 10%. You know, it's still
No, it's still
10%
not,
more
but
profit.
it would feel a whole lot better if you were,
If it was on top of 200, yeah.
right now, I don't feel good at all.
No. But
Well,
again,
we don't have
Joe hit
any,
the nail
we
on
don't
the head.
have any active role in the operation of the railroad, so, we aren't in a position to be first line liability.
And our role as far as applying for grants, helping others apply for grants, or making decisions about grants to repair a bridge or something, those are proactive decisions and roles. Not, you know, we're not looking to clean up a mess, we're looking to avoid.
Yeah, we're not repairing the rails.
Right.
Well, can we move forward then with
My opinion is.
voting and dropping it?
You're the third wheel here on the rail.
Yeah, I support it.
I think it's unanimous as far as the railroad committee. And then, you know, looking at it as a full board, Tracy isn't here, but Tracy responded that he was in agreement with the process. Is there anybody that's not in agreement?
No, everybody is. So let's have a motion to go ahead and move forward and drop the insurance.
A resolution authorizing Christine to contact the insurer and terminate as soon as possible and request
Okay.
an appropriate refund.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they'll probably want that, won't they? Insurance.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Well, they'll come up with three.
So I make the
Oh,
motion.
exactly, yeah, they're gonna
Do it
take more
formally.
screen.
I make the motion.
How about a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Alright.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
That was easy.
So we already discussed,
Lorraine comes in. We just-
Yeah,
We'll stop.
now you're talking.
I'm gonna skip, we already discussed Kinder Morgan purchased Central New York Oil and Gas. Joe's looking into that. Sales tax exemptions are within authorized limits. I'm reaching out to Best Bev. I need to get in touch with them and make sure they're utilizing their forms we provided to them and get them submitting some reports. Hopefully I'll have a report from them next month. And these Richford Railroad Engineering Study Grant and the Raymond Hadley Water Extension Grant are both in progress. Larson Design Group and I had our first kickoff meeting. We'll have another check-in meeting next week, and they're getting moving. ARC grant application was approved. Remember, that's for the 240,000 square foot buildings, engineering plans. We've been approved. The grant agreement is just still on the way, so. And that's all I have for regular session.
You want to go into exec?
Yes.
I have a motion to move to executive session.
That motion.
Second.
Thank you.